Great. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our monthly meetup today. We meet every last Tuesday of the month. For those who do not know me, I'm Ruby Golo. I'm the Executive Director for Global Chamber Accra Metro. I also run a consulting firm called Global Trade Consult, and we help overseas companies expand into Ghana, and we also support local businesses to go global. Just some few housekeeping. We'll appreciate it if you can keep your microphones on mute unless you are called to speak. There will be a notice on your screen inviting you to become a panelist. If you click on that, that will allow you to come into the main Zoom meeting. So please do that if you want to leave the stage, the backstage. Today, I am co-moderating the Cross Metro section with my colleague, Stephanie Austin, who is in charge of the Dallas chapter. Over to you, Stephanie, if you can tell us a bit about yourself before we call our guest speaker on stage. Over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ruby. It's such an honor to co-host with you. My name is Stephanie Austin. I am the Executive Director of Global Chamber Dallas-Fort Worth. And I also have my own business, Austin Global Solutions, where we provide resources for people within the U.S. and outside the U.S. My team is overseas that helps support my business as well as team here in the U.S. I'm just very excited. And you see I have my jersey, United States, and I have my soccer ball right here, USA. Oh, I think it's upside down. So thank you so much. It's great to be here today.
Thank you, Stephanie. Great to be working with you on this project today. On this note, I would like to invite our special guest speaker, Gary Al Smith. Many of you in Ghana know him so well. He has a long profile. So instead of me reading it out, I will ask him to introduce himself so he can tell us all about his work and passion for sports. Thank you, Gary, for making time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. I'm just wondering, which part of the world are you joining us from? I know you are somewhere in North America for the games. So please take it away, Gary.
Yes, hi, I'm Gary Al Smith, and I am a journalist, primarily. I'm primarily a journalist. That's the most important hat I wear. Job-wise, I generally produce content for all sorts of media and also manage Ghana's only 24-hour sports radio station called Sporty FM. I'm the regional content lead for Sporty in West Africa, and I primarily manage Sporty FM. So what Sporty FM is that it is your radio station, but only sports 24 hours, and we dedicate all our time to giving sports news, features, analysis, and generally treating sports as mainstream as any media house would news, or some would do entertainment and stuff like that. And it's been a long time in coming because Ghana's broadcasting history is 90 years old, and people had always wanted to do something like that, with the realization that not everybody wants news 24 hours a day, not everybody wants to tune into. So that was situated to satisfy a market, and we are 2 years strong and going. Elsewhere, people know me also for contributing my humble opinion. I'm not sure why people like to listen to me, but people usually from BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera and stuff usually get my takes on issues, particularly because I am known to not just talk about sports, but to fuse the geopolitical, the current affairs, and the sports bit, and also the sports business aspect of why news headlines are important. And so typically what they say I am good at is that you will see a score that Ghana has drawn England in the World Cup. That is what it is. The final result was this. Or yesterday, Morocco beat the Netherlands on penalties. But then I come in with my very bookish nature, and then I say, hang on, do you know that Morocco has one of the largest diaspora in the Netherlands. And so this was not just a football match. This was a meeting of two diasporan countries. And in the Moroccan team, there are up to 6 players who were born in Holland who are playing in the Moroccan team. Then I can fuse the GDP, all that stuff. That is what I am generally good at. And then I am also quite big on sports diplomacy, how it works, soft power, and things like that. And so that is the general outlook I bring to it. In the intervening period, I've been privileged to speak on different fora like this one with universities across the world, in the UK, here in the US, just to bring some otherworldly perspective, to the various issues that they see all the time. So I'm glad I am able to do that here and share the breadth of sports in a different way with all of you. So thank you for having me, Accra and Dallas. It's my pleasure to be here once again.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And what a way of the World Cup bringing us all together. So it's beautiful. Over to you, Stephanie, if you want to get started with your questions to him.
Yes, Gary, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm just so excited of the what you just shared and your input, and that you're well sought out, and how you're able to I would say, explain it in such a way or put your take on it that's really thought-provoking and also refreshing. So thank you so much today. So I do have some questions for you. Sports as trade diplomacy is our theme today, correct? And so from your media lens, how is the World Cup actually a multi-billion-dollar platform for countries, brands, and even small businesses?
Well, I cannot overestimate or underestimate the bigness of the World Cup. It's become, some say it's become too big for its own good, because it's one of the products globally that truly understands its potential. Very often we say, this thing does not know its potential. No, it's not true of the World Cup. The World Cup has understood its position in the world maybe too well, which is why it has become way too commercialized. It's moved from the people's game that you simply enjoyed to something that has become a juggernaut, that has become an item that is milked for all it's worth. So I'll start from there. The World Cup milks everything in its path and leaves no crumbs. It milks everything in its path and leaves no crumbs. So what we are going to discuss is just a microcosm of it. To start with, the World Cup, or FIFA's projected commercial cycle or revenue it's looking to make out of this World Cup is $13 billion, billion with a B. All right. Yeah. This is a 6-week tournament. Throughout my preparation for the tournament, I have kept hearing this phrase, especially from the White House. They keep saying that, the World Cup has 104 matches. This World Cup, there'll be 104 matches. Now, think of it, according to the White House, as 104 Super Bowls. I mean, the Super Bowl itself is a huge monster on its own. Now, think of 104 Super Bowls. That is the thing we are dealing with now in the World Cup. Every single game you see is a Super Bowl on its own with a different size. And based on that, people are doing different things with it. So as a tool of diplomacy, first of all, I think that the first thing that people think of or must think of or should think of is that the World Cup is a tool for countries to utilize in a way that very few things can, or large amounts of money can do. So geopolitically, hosting nations like the US, Canada, and Mexico utilize the World Cup's massive broadcast reach, because you are entering 6 billion homes particularly by the end of the World Cup or sometimes during the World Cup. It is, I like to say, it is a global billboard. It's a billboard that you have mounted around the world, that everybody is seeing it, that you have they have the Hockey World Cup, right? They have the Basketball World Cup. They have the Cricket World Cup. There are all sorts of World Cup, Chess World Cups, Scrabble World Cup. None of them can touch the FIFA World Cup. Even the Olympics does not touch the World Cup. Even the Olympics. So
isn't that something?
it's a global bill. Yes, even the Olympics. I mean, the granddaddy of sports events. For me as a sports journalist, we say that the Olympics is the granddaddy because it is where all the sports, the multi-sports converge. And so there's everything inside the Olympics. Even the Olympics does not command the power, the prestige, and the sort of allure that it doesn't stop the world, yes, like the World Cup does. Presidents don't stop all they are doing. Presidents of countries don't stop all they are doing and travel to the host nation of the World Cup or of the Olympics like they do for the World Cup. They don't do that. That is how you know. Okay.
Well, let me interject real quick. The fact that you said the World Cup is 104 Super Bowls,
Yes.
that is really, when you stated it that way, it really put it in a different perspective in my mind. So, I mean, so that's huge, in addition to the financial impact as well. And so thank you for putting it in that perspective so people that can understand. I wanted to ask you another question because I have several, and I want to make sure I capture as many as possible, but definitely I appreciate your details on things. So Gary, we've got Accra and Dallas on the call today, plus people in jerseys from Ghana to many parts of the world. And how does the World Cup break down language and cultural barriers faster than any trade delegation or networking could ever offer?
So when you are in a World Cup stadium and you are seated by fans close to you, the primary emotion is joy, sorrow, anger at a player, joy at a player, or something. At that point, the thousands of people seated close to you or standing close to you are not thinking rationally. That is first of all. They are all on the drug called emotion. All of them, every single one of them. At that point, none of them is thinking about the business deal. None of them is thinking about their status. None of them is thinking about their net worth or anything. What I'm pointing at is that at that moment, when you speak to that CEO, that trade representative, that envoy, whatever, you are speaking to the human being and not the title.
Yes.
Which is the reason why in my 20 years of it, I have struggled for many years. It was recently that it just came to me that this explanation I'm giving you, that is why you are able to speak in a language that supersedes or is bigger or than anything else. Because at that point, you are talking to the person stripped of all their titles and their glamour and their everything, and you are speaking to the football fan. 6 weeks ago, Prince, what's his name? The one, the heir to the throne of the crown, Prince Harry's brother, Prince William, right?
Prince William.
Yes.
Prince William.
Prince William. He was at a football game at the final of the UEFA Europa League, all right? And it was played in Leipzig, I think it was. And he was there to support his childhood team. He follows them around the world. That is, of all his duties, he follows them around the world. And when the goal went in, the Prince William, he took off his scarf and ran across the concourse, hugging people and random strangers that on a normal day, his security would not allow him to do in a million years. It is the only place you can hug the Prince William, and go free. and there'll be nothing done to you. That encapsulates what it is about. Okay. So it is a focal point of immediate high stakes empathy. I've explained it in simple language. Let me do it in the language that the people here would. It is the focal point of immediate high stakes empathy. Like you meet CEOs, you meet trillionaires, billionaires, and at that point, you can shake their hand and a business deal will be struck because they are high on the drug called emotions that are brought by football. That is the best way that I can explain it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm in agreement, especially here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We ran into fans who are Venezuelan, Sweden, Paraguay, and I was attending a soccer match. And it's just, as you mentioned, there's no titles. It's all about enjoying the
Nope.
game, frustrated with the player, frustrated with the call, whatever. But we're all connected. It's like it's like
Yeah.
a big family reunion, to be honest with you. We had it here in the colony on the grandscape on the lawn, and you had different countries representing different days, and just people were family and the connection. And even though there was some language barrier, there was a common theme when you're cheering for that team, right? You didn't need to know that particular language or patting each other and supporting each other's team or frowning or upset or whatever the case may be, but it's a common language. So thank you so much. I want to ask you a question here. Everyone shows up for the goals, but the real magic is the community, as you talked about. What networks or
Yeah.
friendships have you seen built around the World Cup passion that later turned into business or media opportunities?
Oh, how much time do you have? I could tell you stories. Too many. Too many, too
Okay.
many, too many. Over 20 years, too many. And they've been fantastic stories. I'll give you one. Where I'm
Okay.
seated now, I'm seated in the home of a wonderful Ghanaian couple that I did not know from Adam
Wow.
12 days ago. I had no idea who they were. I had come here. I had come to, of course, I had my accommodation and everything sorted out. We had come to meet the Ghanaian team when they came from Washington. And so this is their base in Rhode Island. Okay. So we had been there. I had filmed them, everything. We had finished. And one of my guys that I was with said, I didn't know where he was. And I'm like, yo, my guy, where are you? Like, I'm hungry. And he says, oh, sorry, I left you. I met this Ghanaian lady who said I should come home and come and eat fufu. So I'm like, yo, is there space for another person? He
Yes.
asks auntie, and she says, yeah, come on over. So they send me the address. I show up. I have a great home cooked Ghanaian meal and all that. Long story short, I spoke to my now host, and she said, why are you staying in a hotel? Come home. And I've been here since then.
Wow. Isn't that something?
Like
That's some
that,
that
that. And I've seen this play out too many times in too many ways across the world. And so from here, what will then happen is, of course, I'm going to stay in touch. You know what I mean?
of course.
And then
Yes, yes.
friends become family. My quote unquote, my family in the UK, my family in the UK. I have uncles, aunts, but when I go to London, the place I stay for the last 4 years now, and my wife also, is because we met at a football match. We had a great time. We ate. I went home. When I went back to Ghana, I did something for them because they're like, hey, Gary, do you know this person? I did it for them. And since then, they do not allow me to stay anywhere but their place. I have helped them build their house in Ghana because, they send me stuff and I
Mhm.
just ensure that it is done for them so that,
Yes.
I make sure the contractor, the this, the that, the that, their house is almost done in Ghana. And I
It's
could tell
about
you so
relationships.
many business opportunities. Yeah, I have
Yes.
spoken at seminars, I have done and so that is what the World Cup currency can be for those who know how to tap into it. Yeah.
Genuine relationship, partnership, collaboration, as well as welcoming. Being willing to welcome. Many times I told Ruby, I said, hey, Ruby, when you're in Dallas, you have a place to stay. Come stay with me. It's
Yeah.
about those relationships, true and
Yeah.
genuine, not just someone just saying it and going through the motions or whatever, but truly genuine relationship. I thank you for that.
Yeah.
I have another quick question for you, and I'm not trying to hog it up. So if anybody has any questions, please put your questions in the chat. We'll definitely want to be able to, address the
Let me just
questions
say,
that you have.
I
Yes.
have time. I mean, you told me this long ago, and I always tell people, you told me this long ago, and so I've been prepared. I can do more than the 1 hour you've allotted. Don't worry, I have time.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. If a
Sure.
passion was Gary, if passion was a currency, the World Cup would be the richest event on earth. And basically, what you were saying to me, you shared about 104 Super Bowls, So how can professionals in Accra and Dallas tap into the same energy to build our own networks? Like, how can we make what we're doing as Global Chamber or in our cities be that Super Bowl and building our networks? What can we do? What do you suggest? And I'll share a little bit more later about what Global Chamber is so everyone will know and how we reach, how we're in different countries and metros. So I'm going to pass the ball. I'm going to kick the soccer ball to you.
I think that, you treat it the same way that you leverage on networking. All right. So traditional networking forces people to interact, over a dry pitch or a formal agenda. In my experience, the World Cup provides a built-in third place, which is like a neutral environment where the hierarchy is leveled, like I have answered in my previous questions. So it's a level playing field. People speak in a way that is very different. And so let me put this in an action form. Instead of the standard, let's go and have a coffee, or a rigid webinar like this, where it's B2B, you can host, in my experience, what works brilliantly is just host a casual watch along moment with somebody. All right. If the person is in the physical location, come and watch a match over a moment of football. Or if you can, all of you go together to go and experience a football match, a World Cup football match. Then, or if it is virtual like this, you can put Accra and Dallas on a split screen, share a digital watch party moment during a live fixture. So Ghana versus Colombia on Friday, you can do a watch party, and there are several apps and websites where you can do that. So you subscribe to the website, and then you can have a watch party feature. You send a code, just like this Zoom link, to all the people in the place. They all put it in their thing. But most importantly, there's like a side room where you can all chat and interact during the game and share your whatever over there. By the time the 90 minutes is done, I can assure you and guarantee you, it would have achieved far more than any coffee you are going to share, and so on and so forth. If it is virtual, if it is physical, it is even more powerful. So let's just let the natural highs and lows, the banter of the match, break the ice. Let nature do its thing. It strips away, in my experience, it strips away all the corporate posturing. And what happens is that it replaces it with an authentic human experience that no meeting can do. All right. So when you finish, typically, you are going to swap business cards, right? When you are going for such things, and on every trip, I have a few of these things. I have things that are Ghanaian, so that if I'm going to meet non-Ghanaians, my mother is in the business of chocolate, and so I always have my mother on tap. Always, when I'm going to especially a non-Ghanaian country where I'm expecting to meet a lot of non-Ghanaians, the golden tree chocolate never fails to be a diplomatic business card. It works magic every single time. That piece of chocolate, it works magic every single time. So over football, we watch a football match. When we finish, I take it from my bag and I say, this is Ghana chocolate, the best in the world. It is after that that the person is going to ask you the number. But then, by then, getting your number, it's more than just taking your number. you have taken a part of their soul away. And that's what matters for me. So that is how I feel like you can do it. And then when you are going into some of these physical moments, if it is physical, I would encourage you to take a jersey, the Ghana jersey. Thankfully, the last few years of Ghana national team jerseys have been on point. They have always been great conversation starters, because there's always a story around it, or it's very vivid, the colors and stuff like that. And I think that it's a good way to also do these things as well. And then finally, I think that for people like who are in this group, I think you should focus on not just the transaction. Too often, people like us in this environment, we are driven people. We are always looking for the bull's eye. We are looking for the sale. We are looking for the gotcha moment. And so we forget to allow the experience to percolate and to flow and to do the talking for us. Trade delegations often fail because they say, what can you do for me? What can you offer me? No, just let the football do the thing. And then by the time you realize, you are getting a text message. Yeah. In my experience, that's what works.
Gary, it's funny that you say that because especially with the chocolate, I mean, whatever that is, it's that icebreaker. And one thing that our pastor talks about at our church, he says, a lot of times people are trying to just make that business transaction. He said, you got to win the heart before you ask for the hand.
Yeah.
And winning the heart is not just having that one moment conversation. Hey, how are you doing, Gary? Yeah, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation. Hey, by the way, can we go ahead and meet and get you to become a member or whatever? It takes a little bit more time. It seems transactional. And he mentioned stop being transactional. And build that rapport and that relationship. And it may not happen in that first conversation. It may happen in the second conversation. When we get together and watch football, when we get together and network, social event, it needs to be not just a one and done. And you notice that people who are transactional, you'll notice that's how they are continuously with the relationship. But when someone is meeting the heart, they're genuinely checking on you throughout the course of the time or the year. It's not always about business. It's not always, hey, how's your family? And then do business.
Yeah, may I also say, the people in this group, because I read about the GCC and all that, I have a sense of the people who I'm speaking with. They tend to, or we tend to always be looking for trade seminars, and I've seen a lot of that during this World Cup. A lot of travel and tour agencies in Ghana have been having, like a meet and greet in Boston, in the cities where Ghana have played, in Toronto, in Boston, in Philly, and allied areas. And so they've been able to get a lot of the people coming into the World Cup, the business leaders, to have one night, maybe 2 hours, to cross-reference with the ordinary business person. And so that's the only opportunity somebody like me, if I'm a small business and I'm a business of selling, for example, leather bags, that is where I can see the biggest leather distributor in Africa, because that moment he's not thinking about his status. The football is speaking for him. However, I have another take. I think you should not wait for such massive state-sponsored or whatever it is during the World Cup. I have a different opinion. It's good, but I think that the momentum of the competition itself allows you to do your own thing. Do not wait for such big, officially organized trade missions to connect with your businesses. Use the global momentum of the tournament to initiate your own micro communities. I cannot stress this enough. Take initiative. Like, the people are there. Connect with them. At that moment, all their barriers, or most of their barriers, are down. I know this from 20 years of experience. Don't wait for that official meeting to happen before you approach the person. Shoot your shot, as we say. Like, shoot your shot. You have nothing to lose. Just shoot your shot. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask you one more question. I have several, but the audience have some questions. We want to make sure we get them engaged as well. So I want to ask you a question. Ghanaian fans know pain and laughter in equal measure, right? What's one World Cup defeat that taught you more about resilience than any business book could ever teach you?
Oh boy. 2010, obviously, it has to be 2010. It has to be 2010 because, again, with the analogy of the business book, you start your business, you do all your homework.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, you start making your profits. Your revenue starts looking up. You are in the green. It's still looking green. That's what the Black Stars did to all of us. We didn't expect to get that far, right? Then,
Mm-hmm.
because of some other factors that came into play, we kept winning. The sales keep coming in. The customers keep coming through the door. And then one day, like yesterday in Accra, a flood hits. And despite all your best efforts, despite all your preparation, despite you building on what seems like a hill, we have the highest amount of rainfall that we've had in years. So yesterday in Accra, they had 3 years worth of rainfall in one day.
My
All right.
goodness.
Yeah. That is what 2010 did to all of us. We
Mm-hmm.
did not expect it. And then Asamoah Gyan goes and misses a penalty that would have taken us to the semi-final. That day, this is where it taught me more than any business book. That day, I found myself, I watched at what you call a fun park in Accra, right? At Osu. And I watched there. Long story short, by the time I realized I had walked 1 hour from Osu to my house at North Kaneshie without realizing that I had walked.
Wow.
Without realizing that I had walked. That is what no business book will teach you. And by the following day, now here's the interesting part. I was working for ESPN at the time, and I needed to file my match reports. So come rain or shine, I needed to do my work. Okay. That night taught me resilience in a way that I had never seen before. Because despite my disappointment, despite my feeling down, it taught me a lesson that I have carried to this day. No matter how I feel, I need to show up for the job to be done. Because in doing that, I earned some good money that helped me to pay, at the time in 2010, my school fees.
Mm-hmm.
No business book is good. I mean, you're going to see in black and white on a business book, yeah, you need to be resilient because resilience is going to take you further. No, nothing could have taught me in the way that Asamoah Gyan miss and the subsequent feeling of disappointment and the subsequent feeling of, boy, you need to wake up and do your job, else you're not going to pay your school fees for next semester. Nothing could have taught me that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm going to pose this question to the audience. I'm going to pass the baton over to Ruby. We want to ask people to drop in the chat, type your team plus your business lesson you learned from the World Cup, one business lesson the World Cup taught you. Then we'll go from there. And while people are dropping that in the chat, I'm going to pass it to Ruby. But the last question, and Ruby, I'll let you wrap it up with him or talk with him regarding this last question. As a regional content lead at Sporty Group, what's the one prediction you'll make right now about how sports, media, and global trade will look after the 2026 World Cup, co-hosted by the US, Mexico, and Canada? Ruby, it's on you.
Yeah, Gary, I don't know if you catch that
Yes.
question.
Yes, I got it. I got it. I'm usually not great at predictions, but this is not a football prediction, so I'm happy to tackle it. The prediction I will make is that the world will become even smaller. All right? The world will become even smaller. What do I mean by that? Because this World Cup is spanning for the first time 3 countries, right? What it means is that people in Accra, Dallas, Lagos, whatever, are forcing media companies like mine to meet them exactly where they are. We are seeing a massive shift toward accessible, free-to-air digital delivery. All right. I want to break it down so that it doesn't sound too technical. So for the first time in the history of the FIFA World Cup, FIFA saw that the global demand was so much that, and the time zones are so sporadic, even among the host countries. Because remember, between Mexico, the United States, and Canada, there are 6 time zones. It's never happened before in 92 years of the FIFA World Cup. So what it means is that FIFA has had to force itself to make it accessible, and that will be the new reality of businesses and watching sports from now. That would be my prediction. So what it means is that now more than ever before, football fans are going to have sport on demand on places like YouTube and for free than ever before. Post 2026, premium sports broadcasting, it will no longer be locked behind a paywall like we see all the time. Why? Because increasingly, the people who own these rights will see that the more accessible the games are, the better it is for their sports. That is one of the predictions that I will make. The other prediction I will make is that sports media is going to intersect with fintech in a way that we've never seen before. I know it. How do I know it? Because the mother company of where I work is a betting and a gaming brand. I am seeing it happen now. It's not going to happen in three months. It's happening now. What it means is that if you are looking to invest in that direction, I'd ask you to do that. Polymarket, and I'm sure people who know what Polymarket is in the United States is becoming a big deal, right? Anybody here know what Polymarket is? It's like a prediction thing that is predicting everything from politics. So, for example, if you go to Polymarket now, there's a prediction that you put your money into as to whether, for example, a president of a certain country will be impeached. And it's a prediction. It's not like a football game where Ghana is going to play another country and they are predicting who is going to win. They are predicting real life sporting events, political events, entertainment events. And so they are predicting, is BTS, you know, the Korean band, are they going to split up at the end of the year and people are putting $1 million on it and stuff like that? Hyper gamified media and instant trade is going to be a thing. So if you are an investor, please look into it because that is where the next $1 trillion is going to come from. And finally, the next thing I will predict is that advertisers and global brands will shift away. They are already doing it from buying massive, rigid regional slots. So you said you have a small business, right? You said you have a small business apart from, you mentioned a business that you have at the start of the conversation. What was it? Sorry.
Austin Global Solutions.
Austin Global Solutions. I'm going to use you as an example. All right.
Okay. Yes.
So instead of doing your global solutions and looking at buying massive advertising to show what you do and who you are, if you have the money in your local community TV or something, instead, global trade is going to rely on hyper-targeted interactive video content. What do I mean by this? In your own small corner, you are going to engage people who do not work for CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, some of the people that I work for. You are going to find people who are niche influencers in their spaces. And for a fraction of the cost that you are going to pay this behemoth media houses, they are going to reach your audiences for you directly, and you are going to get feedback directly. That is the future that is going to happen. It is already happening in this World Cup. And I would encourage everybody on this call to start looking into it. Look, I, as an individual, I am making inroads in ways that I would not have dreamed only 10 years ago. Why? Because advertisers are looking at Gary and they are saying, hang on, if I go and put that advert on television, it is like putting the advert in the wind. You know what I mean? The chances of hitting my target are maybe 20%. The critical mass are 20%. But Gary has a crucible of followers. On TikTok, Gary has 37,000 followers or whatever it is. On Instagram, he has 25,000. And they are niche World Cup focused people. He has 700,000 on Facebook. He has 400,000 on X and Twitter. He's speaking to them directly. Rather than give $20 to Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, he might as well give only $2 to Ghana Broadcasting Corporation and give $18 to Gary. That is what is happening now, you know. So I would encourage everybody on this call to look within your industry and find those people. If your industry, and this is where I want to land, if your industry does not have those people, start becoming that person, please. It's very important. And you are the future influencer you are looking for. You are the future thought leader you are looking for. So with your Austin Global Solutions, please start looking to yourself as somebody with the knowledge, with the audience, and with the capacity to speak and influence your community in ways that the big media houses can. In 4 years, I want to see people on this call telling me that they listened to what I said, they started looking at how to be a thought leader, put up their own, I mean, LinkedIn is the usual one, but they started looking into how to do local relevant video content seated behind your desk, recording a 5-minute something, putting it on the TikTok or whatever. It takes time to grow, but you don't need to have 100,000 followers like me, because increasingly the people who speak just want authentic voices that are genuine. You don't need to have 100,000 followers. It's a plus, but you don't need it. And that's the last thing I'll say.
It's amazing, Gary. Thank you so much. I'm loving the conversation. I have picked lots of tips that I'm going to take away with me. We'll open it up to the audience. So I see Hemon. You did mention that that is an area that you cover. Would you want to come on stage and share what your technology is? And then we can allow Sharon to also come on board. Thank you.
You invited Hammond to the stage. Hammond, did you hear her? She invited you to the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, my device was acting up. Thank you. Was there a question?
Yeah.
She said that she noticed that's what you do. You want to speak to what your business is.
Absolutely, thank you. Well, I'm on Shellcaster Inc., and we've actually developed streaming and broadcast technologies so that,
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry, my phone interrupted. So we created broadcast and streaming technology so we can actually build networks, build channels so that exactly what Gary was speaking to, we can bring to fruition. We have the technology to do this globally. And Africa is one of the markets that we are trying to move into, and we're currently doing that. And Stephanie is helping us with that effort. So, I would love to speak with you.
Ruby, Ruby is your person, Hammond. That's what you want to connect with Ruby, and also Gary. She's that go-to.
Awesome. I think we're already connected. Right. We'll definitely reach out.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Your hand is up. Would you want to come up?
I have my pen and paper, so I'm ready for any questions.
Yes, question. So I have a question. Hi, Gary. Thank you so much for this enjoyable episode. Even for some of us who are laid back sports fans, there's so much we picked up from here. And I have a question, okay? And my question has to do with sports development and funding for like global South, like Africa and the rest. So I actually ran project financing projects where we try to get funding for entrepreneurs in different spaces. So we currently have some entrepreneurs in this department, sports development. So they're running clubs and all that. What are your thoughts on the trajectory of sports development, development of talent, development of the industry, generally around the global south? What are your thoughts? The second thing would be, where do we look for maybe sponsorship or funding opportunities for people in this aspect of business? Thank you. I don't know if you understand. Okay.
Yes, I understand. I grapple with that all the time. So I taking this question or another one, and then I do this one, and then the next one comes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So for the global south, we have unique challenges that the global north don't have. The first one I'll lean to is the brain drain. Please, I didn't get the name so that I can address her directly.
I'm Sharon Motik.
Sharon, nice to meet you, and thank you for the question. One of the biggest challenges in the global south is the brain drain. It is that sports funding and development is an extremely niche area. So I explain. Project financing in general is big in the global south, okay? There are all sorts of DFIs, FDIs, foreign direct investments. There are all sorts of companies that bring funding into the global south. But the key areas they are interested in. They are looking at things like loans, loans for salaried workers. Those sorts of things. Sports barely features on the radar at all, for good reason.
Right.
One, there are very few people who have the knowledge and expertise to actually dovetail that knowledge into bringing out how to get funding for sports. And even when they get the funding for sports, what to do with it to make a profit or to make a dent in the bottom line of these investors or venture capitalists. I think it's the number one problem. That is closely allied to the second thing that I'm going to talk about, which is a structural and financial stagnation. All right. Many young athletes face structural barriers that trap them in what I call, or what they call, a regime of hope. They have high aspirations for economic mobility through sports, but they lack the structural support systems required to maintain a stable career. Let's bring it home. Sharon may have a child who may wake up tomorrow and Sharon realizes that, boy, my daughter can run. And then the question is, what next? If your child lives in Accra, what next? I face this heartbreaking question all the time. Gary, my child is very good at whatever sport, name your pick. He's very good. She runs faster. She jumps higher. She reaches farther than all her classmates. And she's always first in that. What do we do next? And then there's nothing. So if you are a sports and development financing, what you want to do is, one, be able to identify the infrastructure, invest into it. Those are the opportunities that are available now. I know this because there has been a KPMG study, but it's behind a paywall. They just got my views as a research, whatever, a couple years ago. They looked into it for a big venture capitalist. I don't know, because there was an NDA and stuff. I don't know who it was. I was just paid for my views. Long story short, whichever venture capitalist it was got enough information, but the conclusion was that it was not worth the hassle of coming to put the money in there because there was not enough guarantee of return. So that is it.
Right.
So I'm in North America now. In the community that I'm in, there's a stadium. Like there's a pathway. That's the word. There's a clear pathway that you can see that when there's a 4-year-old child, girl or boy, who has a proclivity or a talent in something, the steps are the talent can go to this coach in the community. So he can go to Coach Carter in the community. Then after Coach Carter, when he gets to the summit of his of how good he is, he can hand you over to the local school. The local school will then hand you over to the state coach. The state coach hands you over. So there's a clear pathway. And by the time the child is 16, 17, he's close to being a national champion. But in the global south, it is left too often to chance because there aren't the structural things. However, I'm not a person who is going to give up hope. So this is what I'll say to companies that want to do it. Why don't you come with your foreign direct investment and do a pilot? If you do a pilot in a controlled environment, rather than start with 100 kids, why don't you do a pilot, high impact, do your research and get 10 kids? 10 kids of the highest physical, physically the best 10 that you can get in the local community. You can put them in a school and physical education program, speak with their parents, and make sure you track the progress. I'm telling you that a few people who have done this have had results. I'm giving you an example, like, for example, the Right to Dream Academy. If you can Google them, they are responsible for at least 3 players in the Black Stars, the national team right now. Kamaldeen Sulemana, who is number 22, and Esnyama was, I think, 23 or so, or 25 in the team at the moment. And then there's one other player. Kudus Mohammed is from the Right to Dream Academy as well. So what have they done? The guy came to Ghana at age 19, right? He was a British guy, age 19, saw the opportunity. It took him 10 years, but he has the most lucrative talent development stream and pathway in all of Ghana. Okay. Even the GFA go to him for its talent. So despite the challenges, and there will be challenges, please brace yourself. Don't say Gary said it's going to be smooth sailing. It's not. The system is going to frustrate you a bit, but if you have the patience, if you have the willpower, you are going to be the industry leader in a couple of years. So that is what I'll say.
Very insightful, Gary. I think I'll be happy to discuss this maybe in more depth with you after the meeting, if you're available.
After the World Cup.
After the World Cup. Okay, very interesting. I think yes, my take home is that already we have a certain structural deficit, okay, in the global south. There's huge, no clear path.
Huge.
Yes, huge one. So maybe the entrepreneurs can be looking at how to. It's a combination between marrying regulation, policy, and total structure, plus maybe the business interest in how to develop that or grow something in your own way. So let's just see how it goes. But I'll be happy to get.
You have to be agile. In short, you have to be agile and you have to pivot a lot.
Right. Thank you. Absolutely helpful. Thank you.
Thank you both. Sure. I do have a question for you. I mean, in Ghana, betting is one of the big things happening. So how do you see the future of betting?
Around the world, betting has become the most, it is the biggest financier of sports in the world right now, full stop. Not petroleum, not banking, not any of the other things, not energy, not finance institutions, not what are the other big ticket items. No, sport betting is the biggest financier of global sports right now. And I mentioned when I looked at the opportunities about 2 questions ago, I mentioned poly markets. When you were asking me about I mentioned something called poly markets and predictions, and yeah, that is where the world is going. And so if you have if you are a betting man or woman, or you are putting some betting is where it's going. Now, this is my prediction as well. Another prediction I'll give you. You see how tobacco became such a huge financier, and then the world throttled tobacco through regulation and stuff like that. You remember? And then alcohol also became a huge financier of sports and entertainment around the world. And then, yes, in the next 5 years, as free as betting has become to finance sports, I am predicting, and don't say I didn't tell you on the 30th of June 2026, that the world is going to rally around, and because of the dangers of betting and what it poses, legislators and lawmakers around the world, especially in the global north, are going to start coming down hard on betting and are going to seriously restrict its influence in sponsoring sports around the world. It's coming. So we are in the golden age of betting, where betting is almost unrestrictedly sponsoring everything. It's on the shirt of every major football sports club in the world. That is going to end in the next 5 years very soon. They are going to follow the same model that they used to strangle tobacco, so that whenever you take a tobacco pack, you know the warnings on it. Like, you literally cannot even see the branding of the tobacco. It's full of Surgeon General's warning. Tobacco is bad for your health, and all the. I mean, but people are going to smoke. People are going to smoke. Smokers going to smoke. You know what I mean? They know what they're doing. But they are going to ensure that it's going to be so strangled that betting is going to have a little breathing space. But that's in the future. For now, though, that is where the money is. And I am the regional content lead for Sporty FM, but my salary is paid by Sporty Bet. That's the mother brand. Yes. So this is what the betting companies are doing to get ready for the strangulation that is happening. They are diversifying. So this is another prediction I'm going to make to you. The biggest media and entertainment companies are going to be owned by betting companies and it's already happening. The most significant, because they have the money, they have cash at hand. If you want $1 billion for example, CNN, I can give you 10 betting companies around the world that can buy it in a blink of an eye. And it's not even a problem. So what I'm going to see is that the big betting companies in the world are going to put forces together to buy the CNNs, the BBCs of this world, in order to, from the back, influence their editorial policy softly. That's what's going to happen.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
On this note, I think I'll hand the mic back to Stephanie. And I think I see our CEO in the audience, Doug. Maybe at the end you can give him opportunity to say the closing remarks. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. Hey, Gary, you know what? I think we're going to have to bring you back after the World Cup so that we can kind of get your overall perspective, So, I mean, thank you so much. This has truly been engaging. And I also want to share with people about this is what being part of Global Chamber is all about. It's connections, it's having great thought leaders speaking and presenting. And Global Chamber, we are in over 600 metros, 190 countries. Why would you not want to be a member of Global Chamber? So definitely go to Global Chamber, join any of our metros, globalchamber.org, and I'm going to pass the baton over to our infamous CEO, Doug Brunke.
Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
I love the intermingling of all the things, Gary, you talked about, how all this pulls together and fundamentally built on people and the connection between people. We're not business people or personal people or any of those individually. We're multifaceted, and you brought that out, including you showing up at a match and finding your future wife. How long have you been married now?
I've been married 8 years now. Yes, I met my wife at a football game, at a soccer game. Yeah, that's where I met her.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
And
thanks, football. Thank you, football.
Congratulations. The emphasis of how life comes at us every day. We don't know what's going to happen next at the supermarket, at the match, the long-term relationships that we build with people that are compatible with us. Perfect example of that. That's what Global Chamber is all about. It's certainly something that we care a lot about, breaking down the silos between cities and countries and functional capabilities and big, small, medium-sized companies and people of all religions, people of all skin color, people of all different kinds of thought process. Human nature is that we silo, that we put ourselves around in little boxes and we know who we know. And that is certainly one way to live, and we have to live that way and sometimes. But Global Chamber believes that people can live anywhere, can work anywhere, and that as we enter anything, even a soccer match, our next big business deal might show up, or our next great love could be there as well. Thank you, Gary, for a great presentation. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Stephanie, for bringing this to Global Chamber. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Gary, what will be your closing words?
It's been great to be here. Thank you for giving me ample notice. I mean, I wish everybody did that. So I've had time to ruminate and think and, read about Global Chamber and know the sort of relevant examples that I can give to make this conversation richer and more meaningful to the audience that I'm addressing. And I would say that, institutions or groups like the Global Chamber are important because they sit at the junction of big organized states groups, and then the bottom of the everyday people. They sit in the nexus and they're able to connect them in a way that very few think. So I was a member of the Global Shapers for the longest time. So I understand the World Economic Forum Global Shapers. So I understand where groups like this sit and what kind of platforms they can give you that your ordinary group cannot. You are able to extend your hand, to shake your hand across cities in a way because of groups like this that your normal groupings cannot. And so I really appreciate the work you do in your niche field. And I'm just hoping and praying that you keep having more thoughtful speakers, and I hope that the little that I have shared has been beneficial to all of us. Grateful.
It has been, and we appreciate your time with us today. In closing, I want to say thank you for everyone for showing up today. We do have a closing song, which is from one of our musicians in Ghana. So Myla, if you want to put it up, those who want to dance it off can do so. I will stay in the room. I'm sure Stephanie and Nat will stay in the room for a few minutes. If you want to talk to us directly, we'll be happy to engage with you. But thank you. Our next meeting will be July 28th. And so please follow us on all our social media platforms, and we'll see you next month. Enjoy the music.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, George, for coming.
Yes, thank you, Ruby. It was unfortunate I had to join late.
That's okay.
But it was inspiring, I really got a lot, Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Bye.
Hey, Mom, have you shared your contact in the chat? I don't know if we are connected or linking. Hemon, are you there? I don't know if you have shared your
Yes, I was on mute. I'm on the road. Yeah, I will share my contact information with you.
Oh, okay, brilliant. That's fine.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Myla, you can have the last song play.